back to Donica and Shelby Read. I'm Donica.
I'm Shelby.
And today we are doing our first video for Spooktober. It is going to be our TBR for Spooktober, but also recommendations. Like if you are looking for spooky books, we have a lot of recs. I have some TV shows I'm going to be recommending to you at the end. I don't know if you're like me, if I'm not reading, sometimes I take a break from reading.
I'm trying to think if I have anything spooky to
I know,
recommend.
I didn't tell Shelby because I didn't want to give her a chance.
Really?
No, I forgot. I like to watch spooky everything. I feel like movies, y'all, there's so many spooky movies. But if you're looking for TV shows, if you really want to marathon something, I got some for you. They're pretty well known, but if you're looking to see what I like, what I would recommend, they'll be at the end.
I'll recommend one BTS song for each week of October that might correspond with how you're feeling.
Dynamite.
Ooh, Dynamite. That's a good one
for what?
All of October.
You can go first and I'll pull one.
Okay. So I was doing lots of research. I'm super excited to move into Spooktober. The first book that I picked, supposedly it's a Halloween classic. It's called Salem's Lot by Stephen King. So when I first ordered this book, I was like, man, I gotta buy this new book, which is fine. While I was waiting for it in the mail,
I think we can all relate to that. Man, I gotta buy this new book. That's like me every time I get onto Bookstagram.
I gotta buy this new book, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
While I was waiting for it to come in the mail, I went into my parents' closet to grab something, and what did I find but this? They only have like 5 books in their entire closet, and for some reason this was one of them, and it's a Stephen King collector's edition.
Like, actually, y'all, if I put this on eBay, I could, literally, it says it's a $97.45 value, and this was like in 2005. When was this published? 2002. $100 in 2002 money is about $300 grand nowadays.
Wait, we have $300,000 in our hands?
No, I mean, don't quote me on it.
This came from my sister's bookshelf back when I was little. So it has literally Salem's Lot, Carrie, and The Shining. And The Shining is another book that I had wanted to read, but I was like, you know, I want to narrow it down this month because my reading habits have not been like very high. So I was like, I don't want to give myself like a 12 book TBR and then only read 3.
His books are always very long.
The point is, I have to return this. So now I think I'm for sure going to read Salem's Lot. If I have time, I'm going to read The Shining. Salem's Lot is essentially, I don't know. I read 2 synopses, and one said that like a reporter or something, or someone is trying to write a book, so they go back to their hometown, Jerusalem's Lot, so Salem's Lot for short, and there's like 2 boys like disappear in the woods, so there's something sinister happening. That's like one synopsis I read. But then another one I read, which is on the back of this book, it says, a strange visitor visits a quiet New England town and nothing is ever the same. They make it seem like this visitor is a vampire. So when I combine these 2 synopses, does that mean the visitor who's writing his book is a vampire?
All I know is I
heard it's amazing.
Would love reading Stephen King when I was younger. Like, I was too little to be reading Stephen King, and I read a lot of his books. I think the last book I read by Stephen King was Under the Dome, and that's when I started getting to an age where I was like, ugh, Stephen King's books are too, like, down for me to read. Sometimes they don't have, like, a happy ending. Maybe someone survives, but it's not happy. You're happy one person lived, but I was all for that when I was younger, but then I grew up and I was like, eh.
I heard that as he like continued writing, as he got older, his genre shifted a lot. Like I heard that his older stuff is like very classic horror, like Halloween time.
Was it was Stephen King that he would be so high on drugs, like he could barely function.
Said that.
And that was when he wrote like some of his classics.
Wow.
Like was when he was like he couldn't stop his like nose from bleeding because he was doing so many drugs. Speaking of quintessential horror, this one has a little blurb by R.L. Stine up here, y'all. He says, terrifying and fun.
Aww.
It's called Small Spaces, and this is by Katherine Arden. This is going to be my mid-month middle grade pick, and I talked about this a little bit when I did my The Strangers book talk. Basically, we have a couple of 11-year-old friends who go to a farm, I think on a school trip, and when they're there, they venture out into like this mist, and they get trapped in this mist and they're trying to figure out their way out. Essentially, I think that's what this is about. But like I said, R.L. Stine co-signs it, so here, Katherine, Arden, don't let me down. And as you can see, there's like a million scarecrows on the cover. And scarecrows, can we agree, are terrifying. Are you not afraid?
No. What did you think about that scene? And what was it? Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Is that the movie?
Oh, terrifying. I don't like scarecrows. They're, unless they have like a really happy smile. If they're anything like a real farm, like, or ranch scarecrow, terrifying. Scary.
I think Donica watched this on Netflix. But it's by Shirley Jackson. It's The Haunting of Hill House.
It's one of my TV recommendations.
Really?
Yes.
Well, this is one of the books I'm reading. It looks like a quick little read too. It's like very tiny. From what I can tell, maybe Donica can even give a better description because she actually watched the show. There's 4 people going into this place called Hill House. Like a professional person who goes to these kinds of places, the doctor of this art of going into like haunted places, I guess, or the paranormal, his assistant, the future owner of the house, and then this random, very quiet girl. So these 4 people go into Hill House trying to discover the secrets that it holds, and a lot of strange things happen, and the last sentence says, Hill House is gathering its powers, and soon it will choose one of them to make its own. I love creepy house stories, I realized, especially with Home Before Dark. I realized I love that.
If you're into this, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, that's a win.
Judging by the show, do you think that this is going to be scarier than Home Before Dark?
I don't know if, to me it sounds like this and the show
are not that similar.
Are not that similar, just based on what you said. Because the show focuses on a family. So I'm not sure if this is like before the family or after or what.
The show might be like a different take on Hill House. But this is like 4 investigators or investigational people are going into this house to discover more about it. I heard that it's a great cast of characters. That's one of the things I read. Is that
it's like a quick read. You'll get that done in no time. Okay, so the next book I'm going to read is a thriller, and this was on one of my like anticipated reads for the rest of the year, and it's called His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Now in this book we have a husband and a wife. Well, now they are estranged, they're separated, but the wife is like this big time news presenter on the BBC, and so she's starting to cover a case. Now her ex-husband is a detective on this case of this I believe it's a woman that has turned up dead. So when the wife goes to cover it, she realizes that it's one of her childhood friends, so she's almost intertwined into this murder. And does she know more than she's laying on? Then the husband is the detective on the case. He's trying to solve it. Then it almost seems like he is then thrown into being kind of suspected in his own murder case. Now you're getting dual perspectives in this book, the husband and the wife. At the very beginning of the book it says like 2 sides to every story, who will you believe? So I'm not sure, is one lying? Are we going to be reading it trying to figure out which one of them is lying? Is anyone lying? It just seems like a really fun whodunit kind of, but you're getting the 2 perspectives and you're trying to see who seems guilty.
The next book that I'm reading, it doesn't seem maybe like a traditional spooky, like, but
Shelby, I have this on my TBR.
Really?
I'm so happy.
And you don't have it yet?
No.
Oh, yay.
See, Spooktober, I knew you were going to come in handy.
The reason I'm excited about this is because creepy house is involved, but also more than that. The main character in this book, the companions.
It's just the companion.
Oh, The Companion by Katie Alender. I guess the girl's name is Lucky. Lucky survived a terrible accident. I think that made her an orphan. So she's in what is it called? A group home. So she's in a group home and people are like, you're so lucky because you survived what happened to you. You're so lucky because you get your own room at the group home. Well, she gets her own room at the group home because she wakes up screaming all night. And then she should be so lucky because this family specifically picks her, I believe, to live with them and help be the companion for their strange daughter. I believe she's strange. The isolated house begins playing tricks on Margot. Wait, is her name Margot or Lucky?
I mean, it's just Lucky.
If anything is a testament to how much I don't know what's going on, this should be it. Well, her name isn't Lucky, it's Margot.
I have so many books that I'm gonna like steal from you so I can read.
I'm excited to read Lucky's story.
Oh my god. She's so lucky.
This is a story of a girl named Lucky.
My next book is called Nun Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. This book says it's The Silence of the Lambs meets Sadie. This book is a psychological thriller about two teenagers that team up with the FBI in 1982 to track down like juvenile serial killers. They get called into an active case, a serial killer who exclusively hunts teenagers. They then have to turn to one of the most notorious incarcerated teenage murderers. He's a sociopath named Simon Gutmanson. It like exactly like it says, it's like The Silence of the Lambs, but we have teenagers involved, which is so interesting, such an interesting twist. So I'm looking forward to that one, like a YA serial killer detective book. I don't know, it sounds so fun.
I mean, like, the case was very lit, but I didn't understand. My last one is not that spooky, but I think it's the one I'm most excited to read, and I don't know how to stop myself from just reading it the first day of October. Maybe I will, but I feel like I'm going to use this as like a fun breaker between kind of like your YA is, or your whatever
Small,
that one is.
Yeah, middle grade.
It's called The Boston Scream Murder. It is a Deputy Donut mystery.
Oh my gosh, who is that?
So Deputy Donut evidently solves a lot of mysteries, but they're not all based in October. This one happens to be based.
Okay, this has T-Man written all over it.
Hope it's gonna be quirky and cute and just give me a lot of fall vibes. Emily Westhill works at a Boston cream donut place, I guess, or she works at a donut shop. Listen to the names of her other mysteries. Previous Deputy Donut mysteries. Goodbye, Crueler World. Survival of the Fritters. Jealousy-Filled Donuts.
Okay.
She runs a donut
adorable.
shop, but always has to do mysteries.
Okay.
So this one is just around October 31st. Emily gets an order for her famous Boston Scream donuts, I think that they're called, because like they're creepy during that time. Well, the guy is turning like 70, so he orders 3 dozen donuts.
Sorry, I'm yelling.
It's okay. When it's not scary. When Emily goes to deliver his special ordered donuts, she stumbles upon his corpse. It said the poor guy wanted a unique birthday bash, just not one to the side of his skull. As the fog thickens, motives mount, and the tricks outnumber the treats, Emily fears that Rich may not be the last one in Fallingbrooks to go out screaming. So it's gonna be like a whodunit, and I'm super excited.
So fun.
I was reading online that there are some people who read this every single October.
Okay, so The Troop by Nick Cutter. I'm so sorry that the glare is like on all of our books. When I was reading in my recent reads, I talked about a book called The Spread, and there was a fungus in that book that made me so itchy to read about. Like, I don't know, just thinking something's on me, bugs, I just get very itchy. The Troop is about, I believe, a group of Boy Scouts who are with their scout leader, and they're on this little island, and all of a sudden I think someone pulls up or comes through the woods, pulls up in a little boat or something, and they're like sick. This man has something in him that wants to spread, and that makes him ravenous. Is it for flesh? Is it for, I'm not sure what, but very much like The Hill, with that fungus, there's something going on with this man, and these Boy Scouts and their poor scout leader are gonna have to figure out what the heck to do and find a way to survive. I just think about it and I get all the tingles, so I know that's gonna be like a crazy read for me. The next one is called The Merciless, and this is by Danielle Vega, and this is gonna, Shelby doesn't even want this near her, but look at how in her name, like, ooh, gooey. This is actually book 1 and 2. I got this from Book Outlet a while back. I have heard that this was Mean Girls mixed with The Exorcist or something. All I know is I've heard it was like very dark, and there's a lot of torture, which is like, yes, give me that in October. So I think this book will be like more of the torture, maybe gory, maybe not slasher, just gore. Basically, we have a girl who joins like a school. I don't know if it's a prep school. Sophia, she's brand new, she's lonely, and when she gets the opportunity to like join the popular girls group headed by like this girl named Riley, she like joins. Well, when Riley asks Sophia for a favor, Sophia's like, what did I just get myself into? Because Riley asked her to help Riley and their group of friends perform an exorcism on a friend of the group a girl named Brooklyn, who is part of the group. They believe she has a demon inside of her. So they're holding her hostage and trying to torture this demon out of Brooklyn. And now Sophia's a part of it, and she realizes like there's no way to escape, because if she tries to help Brooklyn or tries to escape, she'll be in the same boat. You talk about this one really quick. I'm gonna look up what that book's called. This is called Pumpkinheads by Rowell. We bought this months ago.
Yeah, when Donica encouraged me to, like, she was like, we need to get this book. I hadn't heard anything about it because I was not big in, like, the book community or whatever. But now that I have been, like, just researching Halloween books, evidently this is a must-read for a lot of people during this season. I saw on Pinterest so many people have their Coco and their pumpkin heads, and they have their little fuzzy socks. I saw so many pictures like that. Pumpkinheads by Rowell is essentially about these two teenagers, and I think every fall these two teenagers work together at a pumpkin patch. So that's like their grand reuniting. Every season they get to hang out, work at this pumpkin patch together, have a lot of fun. Well, I think this follows their last time they're gonna work together because it's their senior year.
The art is beautiful. The artist is Faith Erin Hicks, and I think she does an incredible job. Also, I think that's awesome. We get some representation. The main character is a person of color, and also we get some body representation.
I low-key hope this is a love story because, like, growing up, sometimes you think, like, man, the main guy always has a crush on the perfect girl.
Yeah,
you know?
So or the more modern beauty.
The main crush is always the one who, like, fits exactly into, like, conventional beauty, and that's not
exactly.
It's just, it would be nice to see, but if he doesn't, that's fine.
The next graphic novel I have that I can pass along to Shelby, I'm sure we can just pass them. We can do a little hot potato. This is the Montague twins, and this is called The Witch's Hand, and this is by Nathan Page and Drew Shannon. So I was really intrigued by this.
The art is cute.
Like, I have not really found a graphic novel where the artist didn't just absolutely kill it. I mean, beautiful. The Montague twins are amateur detectives, and they find a mysterious box that holds long buried secrets. But there are people in their sleepy New England town who want to keep their secrets buried. So we have two twins who are up to some detective work. I'm sure there's something nefarious going on, but it looks so fun, y'all, and it's like a pretty long graphic novel. I have one more book before I give y'all just a little bit of TV show recommendations. If you're feeling spooky and you want to marathon a show, are y'all ready for this? I'm getting Hunger Games May flashbacks.
I know.
I'm a huge X-Files fan. X-Files to me is more than just a show. It's like a way of life. It was like a family tradition. I was little. Shelby wasn't even born at the time, or you were like a baby. We would have family over and we would watch the X-Files. They would come on, I think, every Sunday night, and it just is like very nostalgic to me. But even now, I've started rewatching episodes, and y'all have to remember, if you have not seen X-Files and decide to go watch, this was in the 1990s. Like, despite having minimal FX, these stories the writers would write, like these supernatural, paranormal, were so ahead of their time. Like, it was just it just blows my mind even watching them, like talking about technology, talking about things that they kind of could see coming, you know. This just came out in September. It's like $50. It's expensive, and it is by it's written by Paul Terry. Basically what you're getting is 50 case files, and this is, tell them how hard this is.
I thought it was a box.
It looks like a box.
Decor. That's why I was trying to feel it, because I thought it was decor.
Yeah, it looks like a box. Like, the front cover is like super thick, so it's almost like you're getting a box, like a case file box. And it's so cool because I was just watching an episode, and it's the one where Scully is like, her father just passes away, and she's like talking to a psychic. It's such an amazing episode, and she's looking through the case files, and they look just like this in Mulder's filing cabinet. It's just so cool. I was kind of disappointed because I feel like they missed out on adding physical things, like pictures, like those
and
fairy
stuff.
Books. So like this first case file, the very first one, is of the infamous Eugene Victor Toombs. So if you remember him, it's like one of the very first episodes of the X-Files. He like takes something from people's liver to try to like extend his life. And he's able to like stretch himself out and go through like vents and stuff. But so you'll have like the case file, different articles, like pictures, but see, this is all on the paper. So I was thinking like they could have at least have had photos that you could take out, or I don't know, just a little bit more. But I mean, it is an amazing book despite all that. It's definitely, if you're a fan, something to collect. It's kind of written like as if Mulder, Scully are making notes and different notes from both of them. It's really cool, so I highly suggest that. That is all of our TBR. Like, I have more on my list, but realistically, I don't know what I'll get to. So at the end of the month, we'll let you know what we got around to reading, if we add things, if we took away things. But just really quick, y'all, just really quick, I just want to talk about a couple of TV shows. So a couple of shows I have for you. 2 can be found on Hulu. So the first one is called The Strain. Now, it was so funny because my husband does not read. If you saw him on My Husband Judges a Book by Its Cover, I kind of I acknowledge that he just does not like to read. The last book I remember him reading was The Strain by Guillermo del Toro. I want to say, I always butcher his name, poor guy. It is essentially a vampire book. And if you go onto Hulu, you can find all of the seasons. I believe there's 4. They're really well done. I think I'm through season 1 almost. I did not finish the series. My husband did, and he told me what happened. But I think I read book 1 and book 2. I didn't move on to book 3. But it's a really great show. If y'all love vampires that are almost like zombies, also the vampires become more and more aware of what they're doing as they mature. It's a really good show, y'all. I highly suggest it. Another one is called The Sinner. It is produced by Jessica Biel, and in the first season, she was actually acting in it. Every season is different. So you have one detective who is in every season investigating something, but the circumstances, the characters change. Y'all, I highly recommend The Sinner. If you like really dark twists and turns, highly suggest. If you're not really into spooky, but you want like a really good thriller or mystery, The Sinner. The next 3 can be found on Netflix. The first one, the OG Walking Dead, y'all. It's gone a little crazy, but there are many seasons, plenty of seasons to marathon in October. If you like some good zombies, I watched up until I think season 7. I don't even know how many seasons there are. We watched up until I think 2018. You get your favorite characters and they can't last forever, but just some choices were made that we were like, we're done here. But there are still a lot of seasons for The Walking Dead. I highly suggest it. It's a great zombie show. If you haven't watched any yet, why? I know some people don't like it, but personally, I think it's a fun show. The next, The House on Haunted Hill.
Well, that's why they're different.
What?
It's really the house, because I'm reading the Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, it's, yeah, the Haunting of Hill House. I think that's the name. I think I just put House on Haunted Hill. The Haunting of Hill House. I've mentioned it before. I don't marathon shows. I take everything really slow. I think I watched that in 2 days. I finished it, and that's because I started late on the first day. So scary. Go to a dark room, turn it on. It's spooky. The sequel's coming out, I think, in a couple of weeks, in October for sure, and it's The Haunting of Blinn House. Some similar actors, completely different house, completely different story. It's kind of like American Horror Story, where some actors have moved along with the story. And finally, to wrap it up with some good old-fashioned unsolved mysteries, Netflix released brand new episodes. They're already putting out, I think, 6 more episodes, because all we got was 6. We want more! It dives into missing people, it dives into murder, and it dives into aliens. It's perfect for October.
If you need something to watch to like break up the spookiness, The Floor is Lava.
Oh, my kids love that.
So good.
My kids love that show. We're still looking for subscriber horror stories or paranormal stories. If you have any you want to share, you can email us at donnakandshelbyread@yahoo.com or leave a comment. And hopefully, October 31st, we will read some spooky real stories.
Be there or be a pumpkin.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until our next video, y'all stay spooky, and we will see you next time. Bye!
That is so cute.
We are doing our first, and today we are going to be doing our first video in Spooktober.
Spooktober.
Hey guys, welcome back to Delicate and Shelby. Stop.
Sorry.
You're watching me have a mental breakdown. Stop.